طيب. Shaykh al-Islam al-Ikhna'iyyah says, رحمه الله تعالى, page 206, كذلك من دعا غير الله وحج إلى غير الله هو أيضا مشرك والذي فعله كفر لكن قد لا يكون عالما بأن هذا الشرك محرم. Whoever calls upon other than Allah. طيب. Al-Istigatha is a type of calling upon other than, well, Istigatha to the amwat, those who have deceased. This is a type of calling upon other than Allah. He says whoever calls upon other than Allah or performs hajj to other than Allah is a mushrik. What he has done is kufr. طيب. Shaykh al-Islam died 480 years before Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab. Clear? And the one who's making the claim about Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab makes it a point to say that he is a Taymiyyah in his framework, that he agrees, and not with everything that Shaykh al-Islam says, but that he's been reading Shaykh al-Islam for the last 25 years. And this is very important, that if that's the case, what do we do with these things that Shaykh al-Islam has said? If in fact we're saying that Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab is the first one to call these things shirk. طيب. He says, rahimahullah, كما نعم قال ولكن قد لا يكون عالما بأن هذا شرك محرم. However, he may not be aware that this is prohibited shirk. Okay. So it is shirk whether the person is aware or not. This is what Shaykh al-Islam is saying, Ibn Taymiyyah. Whether he intends for it to be an act of worship or not, that does not seem to be a factor in determining that the act itself is shirk. He goes on to say, كما أن كثيرا من الناس دخلوا في الإسلام من التتار وغيرهم وعندهم أصنام لهم صغار من لبد وغيره أو لبد وهم يتقربون إليها ويعظمونها ولا يعلمون أن ذلك محرم في دين الإسلام ويتقربون إلى النار أيضا ولا يعلمون أن ذلك محرم. فكثير من أنواع الشرك قد يخفى على بعض من دخل في الإسلام ولا يعلم أنه شرك فهذا ضال وعمله الذي أشرك فيه باطل لكن لا يستحق العقوبة حتى تقوم عليه الحجة. To the end of what he's saying here. So what he says is, this was the case of many of the Tatar and others who accepted Islam. They had small idols made out of wool and other than wool, and they used them to draw closer, they used to do acts of devotion to them, and they would venerate them or hold them in high esteem, and they didn't know that this is haram in the deen of Islam. And they would also do acts of devotion to the fire, like fire worship, but they didn't know that it was haram. So many of the types of shirk, قد يخفى على بعض, it may be, the people who have entered Islam may be unaware and not know that it is shirk. He said this one is dal, this person is astray, and his action, الذي أشرك فيه باطل, and what he has done of shirk is batil, right? But he does not deserve to be punished until the proof is established. Like Shaykh al-Islam also says a Qaida Jalila, Tawassuli wal Wasila, on page 231 and 232. The Prophet ﷺ prohibited taking graves as masjids, and he cursed the people who did so or do so, to warn from imitating them. That is, to warn from imitating the people who worship graves. For that is the foundation of idol worship. In general, across the board, the asl of shirk is two: the worship of the graves and the worship of the planets and the stars. That's historically accurate, not just from the Muslims, but even other anthropologists and others who study human history. They talk about where shirk has come from. Two different angles. Worshipping the graves, like the people of Nuh, after him. And this is what he's talking about. He says, but that is the foundation of idol worship. Shaykh al-Islam goes on to say, وَهَذَا الَّذِي نَهَى عَنْهُ النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ مِنْ هَذَا الشِّرْك. He says, that which the Prophet ﷺ forbade, from this type of shirk, هو كذلك في شرائع غيره من الأنبياء, is also in the shari'ahs of other prophets. Right? It's not just from the Prophet ﷺ. قال في التوراة أن موسى عليه السلام نهى بني إسرائيل من دعاء الأموات وغير ذلك من الشرك. He said because it comes in the Torah that Musa forbade Bani Israel from invoking the deceased and other forms of shirk. Therefore, invoking the deceased, according to Shaykh al-Islam, is a form of shirk. And then here's a longer quote from the same book, Qaida Jalila, on page 233, where he goes in and also says something similar. We're going to skip for the sake of time. طيب. Shaykh al-Islam in Jami' Masail